this is Lale here from Color Pencil School. In this video I'm gonna show you how to create a fair on Pastelmat and how to deal with the grains of Pastelmat which have a habit of popping up and showing all along when you are using dark colors on a white Pastelmat. So I'm going to use this reference photo from Pixabay, and I'm going to use this part of the ear of this dog just to show you how to create the actual fair. So I'm not going to use any line art. I'm just going to use it, go ahead and do it with freehand. So I'm gonna just use a few shades of polychromos and some luminance pencils to create this lovely fair. So I am trying to just to keep the direction of the fair. That's all I'm going to do, and to some extent to keep the length of the fair. So this is raw umber from Polychromos. I'm gonna go a bit darker. This is Bister now. So I'm just putting random colors that I find matching with the fair in this dog's ear. I'm using extra gentle, very gentle pressure. So the trick for creating smooth coverage on Pastelmat is to use multiple layers. Second is to use gentle pressure. Don't put too much pressure, especially in the first layers. And you don't need to sharpen your pencils. Only by layering this will happen. So first of all, I just put down some of these colors down. I'm leaving a space between them because the next layers are going to sit between these. I'm going to go a bit darker now. I'm going to go with walnut brown and create the shadows underneath the fair where the layers of the fair are happening. Separate some of this fair to indicate the multi layers of the fair. And in here, because it's dark, just creating the darkness here. Using another color, this is brown ochre. So I'm just putting all these different colors down just to have a mixture of colors. I'm going to use some red now. This is burnt sienna. Again, keeping with the length of the fair that I'm seeing in the reference. Then I'm going slightly darker. This is Caput Mortem Violet. So these are the initial layers, and as you can see, there are a lots and lots of grains popping up. So now how to get rid of these grains. So the first trick is to be gentle with your strokes. which I've already mentioned. The second is to use between lighter color, between your darker colors, use neutral colors and lighter shades to smooth out the grains. One of the very nice colors to use, color pencils, is Polychromos Warm Gray 2, number 271. This is one of the best neutral colors that we all use to smooth out the grains on Pastelmat. When you go over darker colors, it will smooth out the colors, the grains. You can also use a couple of shades lighter than what you are using if you want to keep the color scheme. However, in this particular project that I'm doing now, actually Warm Gray 2 does suit the color scheme, so I'm actually happy to keep it. So it will serve two purposes. One is to smooth out the grains, and the other is to create lighter shades between the darker shades in this fur. So next I'm gonna go back again with my original colors and do another layer. This is raw umber that I started with at the beginning. So with Pastelmat, you go 3 steps ahead only to come back a couple of steps back. With the grains, you've got to smooth them out and build the fur of the animal by layering. The way to create fur, multi-layer fur, is nothing but creating shadows underneath each layer of fur. It's nothing magical. You just create shadows, like I'd like to create one layer of fur here, so I just create shadows underneath the top layer, separate it from the bottom layer, and it will look like I have multi-layer of fur. I'm not particularly sticking to the reference photo anymore. So in here I would like to separate this bunch of fur, so I just make some shadow. As soon as you put dark colors in, the grains start popping up again. So you've got to cancel them out with layering after this round. Okay, now I'm going to tell you another trick for to help with smoothing out grains on Pastelmat, and that is going with softer pencils over harder pencils. Polychromos is counted as one of the pencils that are harder. The core is harder than, for example, Luminance, which is softer. So I mean, if you want to carry on with Polychromos, if you don't have any other pencils, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. And it will eventually happen. But if you have Polychromos or Prismacolor, you can actually use them after a few layers of harder pencils like Polys or Pablos. You can use Luminance or Prismacolor to smooth these layers out. So I'm gonna use them now. I'm gonna start using some of my Luminance. This one is burnt ochre 50%. So as you can see, it does smooth out a lot of colors, a lot of grains, and I also start to define my fare slightly further. I still need to darken the shadows and lighten some of the top part of this if I want it to look like my reference. So I'm going to use the burnt, the raw umber 10% on these parts, and as you can see it does smooth out the grains beautifully, and also it is creating the lighter fare as well as keeping some of the darker under layers still showing out from underneath, because though some of the pencils are more opaque than the others, but in general color pencil is a translucent medium. Okay, let's use another of these that's slightly darker. So this one is dark flesh 40%. That I'm going to use between the other color just to make some variation. This one is Carmine Lake, which is a reddish brown, so I'm using that on the top of my darker shades of Police. Now I'm going back with my darker shades of Polychromos. This one is dark sepia, because this part needs to really get dark. And also if I keep going in with these darker shades, I can separate the fare and create some shadows that go underneath. So I've given you two tricks. One is, well, actually three, that you have to do to use to get rid of the grains. One is to start with gentle strokes rather than heavy ones. Second is to go between the darker layers, go with neutral colors to smooth out the grains. You can go with neutral colors like gray, warm gray too, or you can use a few shades lighter than your colors. Even going on the dark colors with this raw umber smooths out some of the grain and adds some fare to the dark areas, so it does two purposes. And the third trick was to use soft pencils over the harder ones. Okay, so I'm now going to smooth out everything again with warm gray 2. There are a few pencils that are useful in smoothing out grains, and they don't add that much color to the previous colors. They are very translucent. One is warm gray 2, the other is puff titanium from Luminance. There's another one in Pablo called Granite Rose. Those are pencils that are very useful in smoothing out dark colors. And as you can see, when you put this sort of neutral color on darker shades, you actually cancel out some of the colors that you've already put down, so you've got to put them back in. so it seems counterproductive, but I think that it is worth it because it will smooth out all the grains for you. Eventually you will have soft fare that pops out of the paper. Okay, now I'm gonna go in again with darker colors to darken my shade. So this is dark sepia again. I'm keeping some of the light colors in because I want that fair color to be present. So I just went over the top of these the previous layer with a luminance pencil, a lighter color, just to create the lighter shades. And then I would like to add some reds to this, so let's just randomly add some red. With layering, eventually you get to the point that the grains get friendly and calm down, so you can then start adding your colors. On Pastelmat you have the opportunity to add light on dark, which makes it a lovely surface to draw on. The only disadvantage is the grains that keep popping up, which as I showed you today, could be dealt with really effectively. I'm now going to use Prismacolor Dark Umber because that is a very soft pencil and it will help a lot creating smoothing out the grains, creating, so because these are the approaching the last layers that I'm going to use. I'm using this to smooth out the grains, create my shadows, the shapes. You could still use polychromos with no problem, but you know, probably then you would need a little bit some more layers. Even with this I'm gonna have to go in and smooth this out, but where you have really dark areas, you can go with dense and close strokes just to fill up all those gaps decisively. I'm still using very gentle pressure, but I'm going on one spot a few times to fill up the gaps and smooth out the grains. This is buff titanium. And this one's burnt ochre. And I'm gonna use black from Polly's, quite sharp one, just to create the gaps and the very dark shadows here. And I've sharpened my ivory to add some highlights. not highlights, but to add some lighter fair. And I've sharpened raw umber and olive brown 10%. Burnt sienna and a darker shade which is Carmine Lake. Very gentle. When it's sharpened and you use it gently, it's not going to recreate the grains. And the paper is quite saturated now, so when I'm putting this down, it's actually really nicely filling up all the gaps. So here you are, realistic fair in color pencil on Pastelmat and how to deal with the grains. Thank you for watching.